This is the Retro Inc. podcast. Welcome back. Welcome back to the Retro Inc. podcast. We have a third member with us today. Jeremy's with us, and of course, co-host Andy. How you doing, man?
All right.
Good. Jeremy, how have you been, man?
Well.
Good.
Not too bad. I've had a social media week off, so I don't know what's been going on, which has probably cleaned my brain out a little bit.
That's always very helpful and healthy.
I
Well,
wish
we've
I'd
met
done
up-
that beforehand, because I would have just started to make some in-jokes that weren't real to see if he got it, or that big news about Star Wars that happened. Yeah.
So we met up last week, and we had a little bit of a shopping cruise, didn't we, around a big shopping centre not far away from yourself, Andy, and we were
Without me. Didn't even get invited. I love
We
it.
weren't particularly excited, were we, as we walked around? We've seen all the kind of usual nerdy stuff, Funko Pops aplenty, Disney Store with a very minimal amount of Star Wars merch, and not many in these new car backs for this new vintage collection. Not a great deal in there either. Neither of us picked anything up, did we?
Just children things.
Just children things. And did you pick up some DVDs? I think, didn't you?
Oh no, I did. I got the two AVP movies together on one disc, and I got The Thing, the 1982 John Carpenter proper one.
Wonderful stuff.
What was it?
The Thing.
Yeah, could be more specific, please. The Thing.
The John Carpenter
that thing.
one.
Like, just because you went out on your own together doesn't mean you can't tell me what you bought as well. That's just rude.
He bought The Thing.
Oh, jeez.
The Thing.
All right. I know where I stand.
One of the greatest horror movies ever.
With that, one of the greatest movies, let alone horror movies.
Indeed. So, in terms of horror films, mate, what would you put on your list as a good top 20 with no particular order?
Oh well, as it happened, here's one I prepared earlier.
That's always good.
I would have to say The Thing, American Werewolf in London, the original Halloween, the 79 Dawn of the Dead, Land of the Dead, Shaun of the Dead, Poltergeist, Evil Dead 2, Brain Dead, The Descent, Nightbreed, Life Force, Lair of the White Worm,
Oh yeah,
Alien, Attack the Block, Dust Till Dawn, The Fly, Nightmare on Elm Street. I like Mo Jaws, the original King Kong was a horror when it came out. I'll include that. Dog Soldiers, They Live.
Dog Soldiers was great, wasn't it? It was a
really
real out
little
of the
gem.
blue, independent little gem. Which I don't know how many people have seen that film, but it is pretty stunning.
I think it's got a bit of a cult following.
It has got a bit of a cult following. Have
do
you
you know what? I'm off to watch it now. Just tell me when I'm finished.
Have either of you seen the film Hardware?
Yes, I have.
With
Again, I think that's another one of those DVDs that I bought in that weird shop for about 40 quid. Hardware.
No, it's definitely a different.
This is a very different film.
It'll be a long night.
Yeah, Hardware starred Iggy Pop.
I think that was the sequel. Hardware 2, it's going to be a long night.
Didn't
sorry.
The guy from Sex Pistols do the theme tune for it as well?
I think he may well have done, and it was a great movie that I would have actually hopped on your list. But that's a really good list, Jeremy. There's not really anything there apart from a lot of movies with the word "dead" at the end.
Well, if you're doing a list of horror movies, dead quite often comes into it.
That's
horror
right.
movies lacking the death aren't really
so
that
out of the Evil Dead films, which would you say is the premier Evil Dead movie?
I think Evil Dead 2 is the most fun.
Yeah.
Evil Dead 1 was a great movie, but once he had the budget enough to do Evil Dead 2 is a remake of the first one.
Yeah.
It's not a sequel, it's a remake. I didn't even mind Evil Dead 3, but Evil Dead 2 is an absolute classic. I think.
No, I agree. I think Evil Dead 1 is a good horror film. It's more serious than the second one, isn't it? And I think, like you say, when he had the budget to have fun making it, he had fun writing the scripts and that as well. You know, they had a bit more fun in producing it. And that led on to 3, which is just completely out-and-out comedy, isn't it? It's just a good, righteous laugh. And I think that works because he could never recapture that sort of that cult aura of the second one. You know, it's one of those standout films, isn't it? If it's a defining sort of genre. And number 3 is just let's have a bit of fun with that.
Yeah, have you seen the TV show of it?
No, I haven't.
Axe vs Evil Dead. That's in more of the tone of Evil Dead 3. It's quite fun. I like it.
Yeah, it's his sort of comedy, isn't it? Like Bubba Hotep. That sort of.
Yeah.
Did you like my poster that I posted onto our Facebook page of Bubba Hotep?
Yeah,
you've both seen it?
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, it's a good one, mate. Yeah.
It was in the last week, no.
Yeah, fair point. I think it was in the last week. But that is a good film.
So are we talking these are the Romero Evil Dead films, are they?
No, Sam Raimi. Romero did the Dawn of the Dead and stuff like that.
Thank you. So Dawn of the Dead, is this the black and white film?
No, that's Night of the Living Dead.
Thank you. Now, where do you rate Night of the Living Dead? How do you rate that film? Because that's the one that I remember the most.
That's the black and white one. That I enjoy that, but I think that, like for example, the little spoilers from 40 years ago, the little girl uses like a knife to kill her mum, and by the time he got to Dawn of the Dead, the zombies were much more simplistic and they weren't using weapons and stuff like that. But by the time they got to Land of the Dead, they'd evolved and started learning to use weapons. I prefer the Dawn of the Dead zombies, the shuffling, brainless ones that look like they're at Blue Water. To be fair.
That's right.
You look at people at Blue Water, they're wandering around looking at their phones, look like zombies.
So we've got some new zombie movies that we've had over the last probably 10 years. I mean, I Am Legend. We've got Last Train to. We've got Last Train. Thank you very much. And what do we got as well? We got World War Z. Now, what did you think of those films? And of course, Shaun of the Dead, which is
Shaun of the Dead is one of my favourite movies ever. It's in my top 5. So
Andy hates it.
Shaun of the Dead is an absolute classic, especially if you're a horror movie nerd and you sit there watching all the little background Easter eggs and you go, oh, that is just so clever. World War Z was fine, apart from the zombies run, and I'm adverse to running zombies. They're a bit not zombie-ish.
Mm-hmm. And World War Z, did you like that as a whole? And Walking Dead?
I enjoyed World War Z. It had its tense, scary moments. It lacked any kind of gore or particular threat. I mean, it was fun, but it was more of an action movie than a zombie movie. I like The Walking Dead, the show. I'm still a fan of it. I'm not sure what it's going to be when Rick leaves this season. I'm not sure about that.
But I wasn't times with him.
Of course, yeah, of course. Andy, as we call him in the trade. But I mean, everyone. When Negan come along and he bashed some brains out, I'm not going to spoil it. People who've not seen it 2 years ago, but people were up in arms going, "Oh no, it's so violent." And well, they just spent 4 years watching zombies tear people limb from limb. I don't really see why someone bashing someone with a baseball bat is pushing the boundaries any more than people being chewed up by zombies. It's just people were being a bit of a princess about it, to be fair.
We're very lucky because we're going to have another zombie movie coming very soon from JJ. Have you seen the trailer for Overlord?
Yes. Again, I'm going to... So far it looks good, but if they run, it'll put me off.
Well, what? You're just... what's your problem with running zombies?
He's runnist.
He is runnist, isn't he? We don't have that here, mate. We can't have any prejudice against zombies.
They're too active, so I wouldn't stand a chance. Walking zombies.
Well, that's the whole. That is actually my problem with slow zombies, because in this day and age, if we had some slow zombies, I mean, especially in America, guns outnumber people. It'd be over in about 5 minutes.
Oh, I don't know.
I think
they're very stealthy.
It's a subtle
they're very
thing.
stealthy.
Yeah.
Subtle. Yeah, I like that.
I mean, Night of the Living Dead. That's the one that starts with the scene with the woman is it in the graveyard? She's running away from the zombies. That is ridiculous. It is ridiculous. She's running and she could walk. Like the speed it's going, I think she could walk to her car, get in it, and drive off, and come back, and he'd still be walking through the graveyard.
Yeah, but that's parodied brilliantly in Cockneys versus Zombies.
That is a good film. Yeah.
You know, with the Zimmer frame and Richard Bryant going, "Oh, it's zombies," and that you can take the mickey out of that, but I think part of the fun of a zombie movie, it's more of a threat than people running at you. I mean,
let's move on to a review from yourself, Jeremy. One of the sort of greatest action horror movies, Predator, had a re-release very recently, and Angie and I haven't seen it yet, but you have. So let's get a little rundown on what you thought that film was like from beginning to end, where you thought it, and how you felt about it.
I really enjoyed it. If you're going in and expecting Citizen Kane, then you're daft. It's a movie about predators.
Because it's called Predators, it would stop called Citizen Kane.
But I think people are going, oh, it's really silly. It's supposed to be silly. It's a bit of fun. The script is good. Shane Black is always fun. It's a little bit twisty at the end, which I quite liked. And it delivered. It's like going to watch The Meg and going, well, it's not George. It's not supposed to be George. It's got a shark in it, but it's not George. Just get over yourself. It's just a bit of fun.
I know you've had a week of not being on any social media, but the reviews have not been great at all for this film. And do you think this is purely because a lot of people, their expectations were very high for something action-packed, very dark, and it delivered, as you say, something more fun and jokey?
Well, Predators didn't get good reviews, but that was fun. I think it's something that's going to find its market in DVD and word of mouth. I think when people actually get off their high horse and watch it, they'll be like, actually, it's a bit of fun. La La Land won load of Oscars, but I can't stand that. So, having good reviews doesn't necessarily mean it's the kind of film that you're going to enjoy. If you look at the top 10 movies of all time, I bet they didn't all get good reviews.
How towards this end did you think this was going? Did you think this was going to end up with the Predator becoming another Predator film? Does it leave you with wanting more? Does it leave you with, there's going to be another sequel to this film?
I love Predator movies, so I'm always happy for more Predator movies. I watched AVP Requiem with my son the other day, and to be fair, although it's quite dark and bleak and you can't see what's going on, it's still fun. Predators are fun. Just enjoy it for what it is. It's just popcorn.
So let's go through the whole Aliens Predator films now. So how many Predator films do we now have? So we have the three Predator films, and then
four actual Predator films, and then you've got two AVP films.
Mm-hmm. And obviously we've got Prometheus and Covenant and the 4 Alien films. So how and where do you rate these films?
Do I have to do them together? Aliens, I think, of the Alien movies is my favourite because it's just so much fun. I know that two of you hate the sound, but it's done in the 80s. You can't hope for the stuff the sound that's in movies today, because in 30 years' time, the sound in movies today ain't going to be dated, and our children are going, oh God, I hate the sound of that. Film's date, you can't really odds that. Aliens and Alien are great. Alien 3 would be my least favourite, just because they killed off all my favourite characters. I've never forgiven them.
Yes.
I don't really like the new ones. I'm going to watch them again, Covenant and Prometheus, because my son wants to watch them, and when he's a little bit less squeamish, I might sit there and watch them with him. I like Alien. I quite like Alien Resurrection. I think it's quite fun, and it's the one that everyone dislikes the most. But I quite like that one. I don't see the problem with it. It's just it's just a bit of fun.
Yeah, and the Predator films. So where do you see this one amongst the Predator films that we have now?
Well, the original Predator is a classic, and I don't think you can.
So that's
ever
your top. That's
top
your
that.
top one.
Yeah, the original Predator. Then I would say Predators, because I think that's brilliant as well. Then the Predator, but I've only seen it the once. So the more I watch these films, the more I can invest into them. So at the moment, it's above Predator 2, which is all right. It's got Bill Paxton, so I like him. And then the AVP movies, you've got like the original AVP, and then about a week later, I'll go, oh yeah, Requiem, because it's.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but Bill Paxton, if I'm not mistaken, is the only man in cinema to have been killed by a Terminator, an Alien, and a Predator.
I'm afraid you are wrong, because Lance Henriksen's done it as well.
Oh, damn it.
Lance Henriksen was killed in the original Terminator. He was a copper.
Yeah. He was killed
in AVP when he
do you know what? No, I'm out of here. I'll see you later. Whatever. I'm not having this. You come on here and you're still my podcast. Whatever. Just go on, crack on. You go out on mandates with him. I'm not having this.
And he was Bishop as well. Got torn in half.
In when?
It was killed by the Alien Queen in the Alien movies. Torn in half. Don't know about that. But Bill Paxton is a classic. So.
No, I'm annoyed now. I'm upset.
Bill Paxton has been in so many great action films, though, hasn't he? He is,
isn't he? There's weird ones. I wouldn't class him as, well, not anymore, but as one of those highbrow, like you'd expect him in these sort of films, and he's everywhere, but he's not.
When was he ever top billing?
Mighty Joe Young and Twister.
Right, his name.
Mighty Joe Young and Twister, the two that I can think of.
They're not exactly like A-class Hollywood movies, are they?
But I was saying, because he's always been in these films. When has he ever had, his name up on the top of the poster?
I think they're it. They're the only two I can think of.
Yeah. So, what have you guys watched? Anything at all this week? I
started The Handmaid's Tale.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably why I feel so depressed right now.
Really? Has it brought you right down?
Have you actually seen it? It is horrendous. It's just so bleak. There's nothing violent about it. There's nothing too graphic about it. There's a couple of scenes. I mean, do you know the premise of the story? It's like a totalitarian near future where women basically can't become pregnant. There's the majority of the population, so it's turned into some weird, almost antiquated cult where they keep women that are handmaids, that basically are the only women that can get pregnant. They put them to slavery, and they use them to reproduce by raping them. And it is so bleak. It was depressing, and highly recommend it. But
sounds well chipper.
Yeah, it's great. But now I started watching that. And
you've lost me on that one completely, mate. That's never going to be on my watch list.
Yeah, I don't blame you. What else? I watched Pop Star, Never Stop Stopping. I don't know if you've seen that. That's a good little comedy with Adam Sandberg in it from Brooklyn Nine-Nine. And I think that was it, really. I want to watch Infinity War again because
I watched that this week as well.
I could watch it every week, every day. I could watch Infinity War. It's a master.
I like Infinity War. I do like it. I'm not sure it's my favourite Marvel movie, but I think that's because it's not been out long and I've not watched it enough.
You need to watch it, mate. More amazing. Right.
Where do you think this is going to go then? Come on, we have discussed.
Well, at this rate, we're going to have a fight.
So how do you see this following on now? Because we've seen this week a couple of promo shots of Scarlett Johansson in the same outfit as before, but now with her red hairs back. We've got a Captain America wearing the scale top, and back in his Captain Cap outfit, and we've now seen obviously Hawkeye as Ronin.
I think this is going to be Avengers Reassemble. I think there's obviously some time stuff going on, isn't there? With all of this, I think these are all red herrings to make us believe that we're going to see that as the main characters. I think these are bits we see from other dimensions and part of time, etc., etc. We don't know where Hawkeye's been, unless I missed something in Ant-Man and the Wasp. So it's just one of those. I'm going squarely on the premise of the theory that Nerdroom said they saw online. I love it. The whole Captain Marvel being given the pager. What's his name? Nick Fury being given the pager.
Yes.
By Doctor Strange in the future. You can go back in the past. Take that. You can only call Captain Marvel at this point because of all those possibilities that he's seen play out. Only the one where they're actually successful. He knew to give the time stone up to Thanos at the end of that movie. He had to do it. That's what he said. It's the only way. And I believe he went back. He's given that pager to Nick Fury and went, look, I know you're going to need her for, Avengers and Age of Ultron and all these other world-ending threats. You use her then, you're done for. The whole universe will, be split in half. You need to call her at this point. And that does nicely tie up the bow of where has she been for the last Lord knows how long, because obviously this film's set in the 80s, so we know she's been around, and why wouldn't you call this person in for this world-ending threat many a time beforehand? But that ties that into a bow, and if you actually watch some of the Marvel films with this in mind back, you start to see things that do kind of correlate with that. There's just little things that people say and do. I can't think of the examples, but I watched the Iron Man trilogy a few weeks back, and there's a couple of moments where I was like, okay, and it kind of works into that theory, which isn't a far-flung theory at all. I mean, that nicely ties it up in a bit of story writing and explains her absence and explains where you go with this in the future. You've got Carol Danvers, who's essentially as powerful as, godlike powers. Where has she been? Well, this is the moment where you call Captain Marvel in. And we're going to see something, I believe, at the end of Captain Marvel that ties into... Well, we know we're going to see something that obviously builds into Infinity War Part 2, whatever you're going to call it. But it's going to be big. I think this film is going to finish on a moment where you're going to go, holy cow, this is where... And that's why we're not seeing anything yet. I mean, you've got to remember, Part 2 comes out, May?
Yeah.
It does indeed, yeah.
We went into a cycle here. We usually have trailers for something by now. With Star Wars and Infinity War, I'm sure it was nearly a year beforehand, we had something solid in place. And I believe that trailer is going to drop with Captain Marvel. And it's going to be late, but it's because they need to keep it under wraps. But Marvel know at this point, they don't need to advertise.
Well, as we know, at the end of every Marvel film, we have those in-credit scenes, and I think this is going to be very exciting to go and see. Sitting right at the end of Captain Marvel and seeing where this link is, it's going to be pretty exciting.
It's going to be full on, mate. I think there's going to be a lot of explanation as to, I think we're going to see something with Hawkeye at this point. Obviously we've seen the Hulk in the green suit as well, I think there's the concept art of that.
Yes, we have, yeah.
So it's green, I can't remember what colour, it's like purple, isn't it? Sorry. So, and they're all wearing a similar sort of style, and I believe that this is probably going to be set sometime after. Or there's going to be something to do with Captain Marvel and time happens, or dimensions, that she's put them somewhere else for the time being to get stuff sorted. And that's why they've got these suits. Stark spent some time arming them to the teeth, ready to go to war.
Very good point.
For the end game.
Well, we had the Dark Phoenix trailer drop this week, and now we're going to start seeing a little bit more from Sony's part of the Marvel Universe, X-Men. And you've seen the trailer, Andy. You were very excited about it. You really liked it.
Yeah.
Feelings and thoughts?
Well, you posted this in the group. Straight away I watched it, and my interest more was lying with the fact of why are we getting this now? Because we're looking at this acquisition that's essentially going to go ahead with Disney, with Fox, the whole battlefield's going to change of where the mutants sit in the X-Men and where the Fantastic Four are going to come into play with all of this. And the Fantastic Four, I wouldn't be surprised, is something that maybe turns up in the very near future, if there's already deals gone ahead for that, because those suits that they're wearing for Avengers could be something there. But anyway, I watched this more for the fact of why do we need this? And watching it, it's almost like they're going to hit the reset clock at the end of this film. This looks like almost like the end of the what we have of X-Men. And I wasn't excited at all. I don't really like the X-Men films. I'll watch them. I've watched them all, and I'll give them their time because they're a bit of fun. And exactly like you said about the Predator films, sometimes that's all, they're just a bit of fun. We can't expect too much from X-Men because we've got Marvel. You can see what it does to DC Marvel. There's just the expectations for us are far too high sometimes that it can ruin the experience. So just enjoy an X-Men film for what it is, and they're not that great. But Sophie Turner owned that trailer. And I was really surprised at that because we've only really seen her in Game of Thrones. Anything else she's been in has been a bit, B-list.
Bit part, really.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, this is a big step up. You're essentially taking someone who had a bit part on TV, because it is, I mean, if you actually break her time down on screen, it's not that much over 7 seasons. And she nailed that trailer. And the tone of this looks like something that we've been missing from X-Men for a long time.
I think she's very clever because we've had such a huge TV series as Game of Thrones, and the last time we saw her in an X-Men film, she was the age she is now, and she had a bit of a bit part. Obviously, she was Jean Grey, but very small. Now we know what a massive impact Game of Thrones has been, and of course we had Emilia Clarke in Solo, which was Marco Genius really on casting, and again what we're going to see is this new X-Men. We've got. In Deadpool, we have the yellow and black tops that Deadpool was wearing in Deadpool 2 as a trainee, and this is the Grant Morrison run of new X-Men and these costumes, and I'm really excited to see much more of this. What do you think, Jeremy? Did you see the trailer at all?
I've seen the trailer. It's okay. I'm not as invested in it as maybe I should be. It's okay. The X-Men films are fine. The Wolverine films are fine, but they're not the Marvel films. They're not as much fun as that. I'm bound to watch it because I just watch whatever stuff they throw on the screen. I'm going to watch everything.
All pretty colours. Yeah.
Yeah.
Following on from Andy with Infinity War, did you agree with Andy's thoughts on how he feels it's going to project forward into this fourth Avengers movie?
I love every theory and speculation that people get. I'll listen and read to it. Whatever people want to say, I will listen to it, and it's great. We're always wrong. So it doesn't make any difference. It's always good fun. There's always a curveball. Obviously, Captain Marvel's going to be the big thing.
One time I'll be right and I look really cool when it happens.
But what you were saying earlier was they're all fantastic. And if you get 10% of it right, then that's brilliant.
Absolutely.
But I love the fact that we never get it right. And I love sitting in the cinema and going, I just did not see that coming. And it was obvious. If you go back and watch all of the movies, you can these things telegraphed. But they're so well retconned that you go, why didn't I see that come? I feel like such a fool. But I love all that. I love the theory and the speculation because I know that when I go and probably watch the midnight show, and Andy will probably be there, we'll be wrong and we'll come out of it and we'll go, that was brilliant. Yeah. There's no way that the new Avengers movie isn't going to be fantastic. Marvel make very few missteps. There's not many Marvel movies that you kind of go, it's a bit rubbish, really. They're all at least agreeable. That there isn't many people that go look at a Marvel movie and go, that was terrible. Yeah. I think people point at Thor: Dark World and go, that was rubbish, but I quite enjoyed that. But that's
I really did.
Doctor Who. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
But I think that's the only one that people point at and go, that wasn't very good. But
Iron Man 3 for me, mate.
I really liked Iron Man 3, but the thing about it is, People are comparing. When you compare all the Marvel movies, they're all brilliant. So that's the least brilliant movie out of 20 movies. It's still a brilliant movie.
But anyway,
it's still better than 90% of them.
Exactly what you were saying about the new Predator film when you were saying about you just enjoyed it because it's just fun. What do you expect, Citizen Kane? Some films can just be fun just because they're fun, and everyone's opinion's different. And this is the thing. You hear a review of something, and you look at Empire magazine, and it's a black and white French film about a man painting a wall because his cat's dying in the corner, and they give it 5 stars. And I don't want to watch that nonsense. Well, but that's because it's someone's opinion, and he's getting paid to write it.
They originally
Legal
didn't like
disclaimer.
Shaun of the Dead.
Yeah.
I remember reading the review of Shaun, and I think they gave it 3 stars. I watched Shaun of the Dead and think 3 stars. What were you thinking? Yeah. That's 5.5. It's an absolute classic. So I'll watch a film on the merit of I'll go and watch all of them anyway. But I'll watch a film regardless of the reviews. I don't care what the reviews say because there's a lot of people. I don't want to point fingers, but there's a lot of people that like Tom Cruise movies. Just because I don't, it doesn't mean they're not good movies. It doesn't mean they're not good movies.
Yeah.
I don't like gangster movies. The Godfather is apparently one of the best films ever. I thought it was Dull and Dishwater.
Yeah,
but
on you there, man.
Other people have different opinions. People don't like the music that I like or the clothes that I like.
Yeah, but the Spice Girls, mate. The Spice Girls were over in the 90s. All right, you just let it go.
Spice Girls are never over.
Just get over it.
They're never over. But yeah, review. Enjoying the movie is a very personal thing. And if you fancy watching a movie, go and watch it. And form your own opinion. Don't jump on it. It's all the Emperor's New Clothes. People go, oh, that film was brilliant. No, it was took. It was, or it was great. And just because, Kim Newman doesn't like a movie, it doesn't mean it's not a good movie. Or Mark Commode. It's just that they like watching, like you said, they like watching French people paint on the wall. Because it's the Emperor's New Clothes, and it's the trendy thing to say.
Yeah. Mark Commode, BBC. Some of the films he'd recommended are straight down the commode.
Sorry for the toilet humour.
But they are. But he believes still that The Exorcist is the greatest movie ever made. I mean, extremely debatable film in terms of horror. I mean, is it really a horror film? It's almost laughable, isn't it, in places? But
I hate it.
But again, it's just someone's opinion, and the whole point of loving everything geek and nerd is that it's a huge church that we can all go into and love our things, and I think it's really quite disgusting when we hear how people are slandered and bitched about what they like and what they don't like, and it's very unfair, really. Today, I was wandering through Brighton, went into this new shop that's been open a few weeks now, and it's just a wash with Game of Thrones and Harry Potter and Lord of the Rings merchandise, and the looks on people's faces that were going in and the excitement, it just was such a thing of wonder, and I felt really, really, really chuffed that I'm actually in this pool of people that we can all swim together in, and I find it very difficult myself, when you come out from the cinema and you say, oh God, that's just like the greatest film I've ever seen, and someone says, oh, I thought it was awful. I just tend to sort of wonder what it was that they didn't see or what it was they saw that I didn't. And that's for the beauty of opinion, isn't it?
I went to watch The Nun the other day because I'm trying to find a scary movie. I went to watch The Nun, and it had pretty good reviews, to be fair, but it was absolute tosh. It was absolutely awful. In the end, I left because it was that bad, and it's very rare that I do that. And the last movie I walked out was the Absolutely Fabulous movie, but people were laughing. I mean, it's supposed to be a horror movie, and people were laughing. So I read the reviews afterwards and going, did you watch the same film as me?
Yeah, I had that once with Drag Me to Hell. I saw it was really
terrible.
Yeah, and again, we was at the cinema because me and my wife we now and again go see a horror movie, and we was watching it, and there's the bit where the old lady gets hit over the head and her eyeballs popped out, And it was so comical. People laughed. And the same thing, I was reading the reviews, best horror movie in, so... What? Yeah, don't get it, man.
Well, one film that none of us have seen was a movie that you brought up a while ago, and Andy, and you were very excited about this dark Muppet movie, and it's been and gone. And
to be fair, I've seen that.
Oh, you have seen it?
I've seen that. The Happy Time Murders.
Yeah,
I thought it was really good fun. Yeah. I just ignore all the reviews because let's be honest, the film about Muppets having sex and killing people. What do you expect? So if you go and watch a movie,
well, you expect
a
film about Muppets having sex and killing people, don't you? If that's the premise.
And if that,
you've been going through my DVD collection, haven't you? You say,
but if that's the kind of thing that if you go to the cinema to watch that, you're expecting that. You can't at the end of it go, "Oh, I was really offended by the Muppets having sex." It's just fun.
It depends how you spin it to people, doesn't it? Because, I mean, I managed to wangle my wife into watching District 9 because I said it was about a bunch of illegal aliens in the community in South Africa. Yeah, she weren't happy.
But, yeah, I mean, the Happy Time, it's just silly fun. Just get over it. Like, Sausage Party. Did you watch that? The animated one?
Oh, yeah, I like that.
That was just silly, but you know what you're getting in for. If you're not going to enjoy that kind of movie, don't watch it. But don't watch it and give it a bad review. I don't watch movies that I don't fancy and then give them bad reviews because I think, well, I don't fancy that really. And you just don't watch them. Just watch the movies you enjoy.
It's the internet, isn't it? When you hear things like that, you hear reviews. It's the whole thing, isn't it? To take a macabre tone here, but when something happens and you say you get diagnosed with cancer, if you search Google for cancer, you just see death and sadness. You don't see anyone going, "Hey, I survived," and all the good stories. You don't see that, and I know it's a bit of a paradigm shift in comparison. But with reviews of stuff, you're more likely to see blasted everywhere, and we see it with the negativity with Star Wars, don't we? We've seen it with Solo and The Last Jedi. There is this backlash of stuff that comes on the internet, and it's everyone hates it. Well, actually, it's a small, minute group that just have a louder voice because you don't hear the good stuff. You never hear it. And the Happy Time Murders, I'm sure people enjoyed it. I bet people went to see it 1 or 2 or 3 times at the cinema because they enjoyed it. But they're not the ones that are sitting behind the keyboard going, "I really enjoyed this." They come out and went, "Yeah, let's go for a drink." It's the ones that went in there with those expectations of it being a Muppets Christmas Carol on crack
which is what it is.
Is it really? I'm so there. I did want to see it, but I did see the reviews, and unfortunately, as much as I understand the negativity with reviews as a process, I still fall for them.
I never do. I'll read the review, but then I've got to go, well, I'm a grown up. I'll make my own mind up. I don't agree with everyone.
So it holds me back. I think it takes away the excitement to a degree. It's not that it has switched my view on something before I've seen it. I'm still open-minded enough that I'll watch stuff. But where I was like, I need to go and see that, I'm not, I'll wait for it to come out on Netflix. That's the difference.
Yeah, see, I'm lucky I've got an unlimited card so I can go to the cinema whenever I want. So if there's a movie that vaguely tweaks my interest, I'll go and watch it. But I think that your enjoyment of movies is very personal. So, I mean, I love Stand By Me. I think it's one of my best movies ever. But a lot of people are like, "Oh, really boring." But it's a personal thing. The things that I like about Stand By Me are things that hit me like, my childhood, your friends, and I find that an amazing movie. But it's fine if other people don't like it. I
think when you connect personally with a film, it changes something about that movie, and it pushes it very, very high on your list. A lot of films, I think, when you're young and you don't really get them later on, when you pick up on them, they can become very prevalent to your life. And there are some films that I've rewatched over the last 5 or 10 years, and I've thought, why on earth have I not seen this film? Why on earth did I give this a miss? I'm still yet to see Forrest Gump. I'm still yet to see Dirty Dancing. I'm still yet to see Mamma Mia, which I know You said you've seen, but there are a lot of films.
I love
that,
all of those movies.
I'm just not ready for them yet. My mind's just not ready for those kind of films yet. A movie that that I talked to you about, Jeremy, a little while ago was another kind of dark comedy spoof of horror, which was Tucker and Dale versus Evil.
I watched that the week before last.
I'm so glad. Now, Andy, what did you make of that film? And
I love
if the
it,
listener
mate.
hasn't seen it before, it stars Alan Tudyk, who was in the Rogue One movie. It's about two guys that expect to relax on their vacation, book a cabin, bit of fishing, two backwards kind of boys, aren't they? Proper rednecks, and they see their trip turn into a nightmare when they're accused of being psychotic killers.
Yeah,
they
meet
meet
a bunch of summer home, hasn't he?
Yeah,
He's
sort
just
of LA
lovely
girls who are expecting to meet, a couple of rednecks in the woods who are going to chop them up with axes. Meanwhile, these two guys are expecting to meet some hot girls, and it all goes pear-shaped. And it's just wonderful, isn't it? Absolutely wonderful.
That's the movie about perspective, isn't it?
It is.
The whole thing is that people are looking at Tucker and Dale going, oh, they're clearly murderers. But they're the nicest people in the whole movie. They genuinely couldn't be nice. And it's about judging a book by its cover. I mean, we probably all get judged. I think people judge me for my size and my manliness, apparently.
Yeah, they're like, where's that guy left his longboat?
Why doesn't he not have a big golden glove?
I think he's going to come and pillage me. Yeah.
But the reason why I brought this film up was because of its perspective, because of the way that it crosses these boundaries and these views on how we see ourselves, how other people see ourselves, and how we perceive film. And it's total misjudgment and it's total miscommunication in this film that gives it its basis, isn't it? And what I loved about Deadpool 2 and seeing how some of his team lose their lives, spoilers, is it's the same kind of thing in this film, isn't it? Every single person in this film goes horribly down the pan, and
it's just every moment that there is some sort of death, how it's almost like Final Destination gone wrong, isn't it? It's like Death's Desire just caught up with him. Then I love that bit where he's cutting the wood with a chainsaw. He hits the bee's nest and he comes running out shaking the chainsaw, and the guy falls in the chipper, isn't it? I think. Yeah.
He runs into the tree, doesn't he?
Yeah, that was it. Yeah.
He literally runs into a spike.
I mean, it's this film. I don't know what it got on Rotten Tomatoes. I don't know if you can have this look up, Andy, whilst we're chatting away. But this is a very underrated film, and I think this is in the same vein as Cabin in the Woods and Shaun of the Dead. That picked up a lot of momentum once they've been released, once they've gone to DVD, once they've gone to Netflix, and then people started watching them. What We Did in the Shadows, again, is one of those films. It sort of spoofs documentary, it spoofs the horror genre, and how I'd like Andy to pronounce the director of that film.
Of which one? Sorry.
Of What We Did in the Shadows. The director of Thor Ragnarok.
It is.
I do like the
Taika Waititi.
I do like. He did an absolute masterpiece in that film. Jeremy, have you seen that?
7.6 out of 10, sorry. Tucker and Dale.
I haven't watched What We Did in the Show. I watched a bit of it. Couldn't get into it.
Well, you'll find it one day again, and I think when you do, you will really love it, because it is a grower. It takes a bit of time to go, what's this really happening? What's really going on here? But he does a masterful job of really sort of playing into the how we see vampires, how we see zombies, how we see mummies, how we see werewolves, and it's marvellous. American Werewolf in London, though, was on your list, Jeremy. When did you last watch it?
Not that long ago, and I realised on my Sky, other TV channels are available, that it's recorded again. So I've obviously liked a few things. It must have been on last night, the night before. Right. And I can't wait to watch it again. Again with Steve, me and Steve used to watch that. Steve from Talk Star Wars used to watch it all of the time. There's horror, there's Jenny Agutt's boobs, there's just What
Well,
else do you need?
What people don't realise, there was a sequel to this film, wasn't there?
That's the Paris one, wasn't it?
Yes. Didn't work, did it?
We don't speak about that, do we?
Nobody speaks about it. Nobody speaks about it.
It's just one of them movies that you just go, no.
Yeah.
What I'd like to recommend you guys to watch, though, that's currently on Netflix, it was released this week, and I really, really have to recommend this film. It's got, I think, all the right elements to make this film, something to rewatch again and again, and it's called. One moment, I've just lost my notes here.
That's a weird name for a film.
I'm sold already. I'll watch that.
It sounds like one of those French art films.
Oh my goodness.
Did the dog eat it, Andy? Is that what happened?
The dogs eat the homework.
Adam, are you recommending a film for me?
I am recommending a film for you.
Be careful. Last time I was not happy to put my credit card details in on that website. Okay.
Oh, did he recommend that one to you as well?
Yeah.
I have to wash my eyes.
Oh my God, it's gone downwards already. I don't know.
I told you I'm not well tonight. You're not going to get any sense.
The film is called Hold the Dark.
Oh, that looks really good. That's one with the wolves, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a grim Alaskan winter.
The dude out of Walking Dead, isn't it?
Hunts for wolves, blamed for killing a local boy, but he soon finds himself swept into a really chilling mystery. And it's beautifully directed. It's gripping. It immediately got 5 stars on Netflix, and it's 125 minutes of a fantastic film, and I really have to recommend this. It's a real kind of action, crime, adventure thriller, and well recommended.
Oh no, it's not the dude from Walking Dead, is it? It's Jeffrey Wright. I always get him mixed up with the guy who's the guy at the start with Rick Grimes and his wife, and he has to shoot her, but he can't do it. The guy with the kid smacks Rick around the face with a shovel. I don't know.
Jeremy, you might know that one because I wasn't a great fan after Series 1. In fact,
that was episode 1 of Series 1.
Oh, Morgan. Do you mean Morgan?
Yeah, that's it, Morgan.
Yeah, Morgan. Yeah.
Do you know what freaked me out the most was I didn't really get into Walking Dead because the moment I saw that girl crawling across the front lawn without it freaked me out so bad. It took me a long time to watch the rest of. But
the thing is, people can watch half a girl crawling across the grass trying to eat Rick Grimes, but they can't watch Jeffrey Dean Morgan hit someone on the head with a baseball bat. They'll get all uppity about that. I mean, there's been some gross stuff in The Walking Dead. There's been, zombie children. So why Jeffrey Dean Morgan's upsetting everyone, I can't figure out.
Yeah, I'm with you on that, mate.
And another film that I decided to crack on with, which I'd been recommended for a very long time, and I didn't realise it was on Netflix, actually. The film's called Downfall. It's the portrayal of Adolf Hitler's final days, based on the memoirs of Total Jange and the young secretary who was with him right until his death. This is a German film.
Steve. That's his name, isn't it? Steve.
Steve, that's right.
Yeah.
And it came out in 2004, and I started watching this movie, and I was absolutely gripped by it. And as I say, it's German. It's played by a Swiss guy who plays. I mean, none of us really know what it was like, but he plays it incredibly well. I then went on to watch Das Boot, which was another film that had rave reviews at the time, and I thought, I don't know, I'm not sure about this, and it's sort of the life on a submarine, and it was just very, very, it's a real tough watch. Have either of you seen that? You kind of war films?
I like war films, but I don't have a spare 5 hours that I can, go. I tell you what, I watched that German subtitled movie that allegedly is really boring. I'll get to it one day, but I'll probably once I've retired.
Well, I kind of went into from this incredible film called Downfall into Das Boot, and then watched Fury with Bradley Pitt. Either of you seen that as well?
I haven't watched that yet. No.
It's definitely worth a look. And then I decided to lighten things up while watching Valerian. I mean, you couldn't get more Spurs than that.
I saw Valerian twice at the cinema. I'm a Valerian fan.
Now, this is where I was going to, because we've got a couple of much lighter movies coming next year. We've got Shazam coming, which I think is going to be very exciting. And we have a new announcement as well this week that they're going to be making. We're going to be making another. What are those guys called? Hang on a minute.
Joker.
Well, we got the Joker, but he's not particularly funny. Oh my goodness me, gone right out of my head. You know the spoof of James Bond. What's
Johnny
it?
English.
With Mark Strong.
Kingsman.
Kingsman. Thank you. Oh my goodness. Yeah. And what was I going to say? And Valerian, which is again, sci-fi with that little bit of a spoof going on in it. It's not entirely, it doesn't entirely take itself seriously, does it?
Because it's what Luc Besson does best. It's
Indeed.
fun sci-fi. I wish that guy could do more of it, to be honest with
Now,
you.
again, I watched Fifth Element straight after Valerian, and it is a cracking film. But again, it doesn't take itself seriously at all, does it?
No.
So, Jeremy, in terms of sci-fi, where do you stand on your science fiction and your love of it? I mean, those two movies are beautiful looking. They don't take themselves seriously at all. And in fact, anyone I think would love both of those films. But yet, they're not talked about nowhere near as enough as your Blade Runner and your Alien.
Yeah, but that's pretentious sci-fi. I don't like pretentious sci-fi. Sci-fi to me is...
Says the man who only likes zombie films where they walk.
No, I've got into zombie land. It's okay, I'm getting there. But I think the whole thing about sci-fi is a bit of fun. I'd much rather watch Battle Beyond the Stars than the new Blade Runner movie. Because it's fun. Just have a bit of fun with it. It's just... The original Blade Runner is okay. And it's horror.
Mate, we're going to have problems, all right? We're going to talk about this later.
We were talking about opinion. It's just his opinion.
I like fun sci-fi. Sci-fi is all a load of... Ice Pirates.
Andy mentioned District 9.
Crazy movie. That's fun.
Andy mentioned District 9. How did you find that? Did you like that film?
That was fine. No, I quite
Elysium.
enjoyed that.
How about Elysium?
I don't know of that one.
Oblivion.
Oblivion. I have seen Oblivion.
Tom Cruise,
but I'm not blaming Tom Cruise for the fact I didn't like the film.
Looper.
I saw Looper at the cinema. I enjoyed Looper. Looper's fine.
Moon.
I don't mind Looper. Who?
Moon.
That's Sam Rockwell. I've not seen it. I was watching a thing today telling me that I should watch it.
Yeah.
It's one of the ones that is a classic that nobody's watched. So I will watch that.
Oh, is it? Yeah. I would be very interested to see what you think of that film. Andy, come on, some sci-fi that he may or may not have seen.
You make me think now, mate. It's out in my head today.
Now,
have you seen Robot Jocks?
I have. I've really enjoyed Robot Jocks.
How about Arena?
Yes, I've seen that.
Dune.
I have not seen Dune. I haven't. Oh, look at that. It's got Sting in it, and I don't really like Sting that much, so it put me off.
Pitch Black.
And he's going to punch me there.
We were having words afterwards, me and you, Adam. All right.
Pitch Black. I love Pitch Black. Pitch Black is an absolute classic. I like Riddick as well. The three of them they've done. I enjoyed all of them.
You like the second one?
The second one is brilliant. The third one is all right. The first two are brilliant.
Was one of those amazing pieces of that. We were talking earlier about those independent films that just come out of nowhere.
Yeah, exactly. Come out of nowhere. It's like, what is
It's fantastic. And then obviously they got the budget for the second film, which did kill the franchise in a way because, it didn't do the money they needed to do.
But again, that was the reviews that killed it.
Yeah.
If people just thought, you know what, sod reviews, I'll go and watch it, they'd have enjoyed it. Just enjoy it.
Yeah, and it is that, and it's such a shame because it built the world. It was not, not the grandeur of Star Wars, but it was doing that world building thing of Harry Potter, Star Wars, and all of them. Where it's like, let's explain this, let's give you other planets, let's tell you about the Furians, let's give you, this new Mecca where people live and there's communities, and it wasn't just a guy on a planet with some people. It was building that world like the Alien films have done with Prometheus, etc. And yeah, it was a shame that it didn't go further than that. But when we got was it just Riddick, wasn't it?
Yeah, Riddick.
Chronicles of Riddick.
No, Chronicles.
The second one was Chronicles, yeah.
The third one was just called Riddick, and it was, the story behind that, I don't know if you're aware, was that they didn't have the funding, and basically, David Towie, the director, and Vin Diesel created the character of Riddick between them. It's their own creation. The two of them sat down, and that's why it was his baby. And Towie wanted to make it. Vin Diesel wanted to make it, and essentially they come to the deal of, I'll pretty much do it for free, because he was so adamant in making this movie as a creative, Vin Diesel, that he just went, I'll just do it. And he pretty much, he obviously got a salary, but it's nowhere near what he would be expected, for a Fast and Furious movie. And he used that money that they'd got for funding to just throw into the movie. And that makes that film a little bit better for me, because you can see it's a real
passion project. Yeah,
it's a passion project, and it works for that, because it's like they've gone, let's go back to grassroots here. We haven't got the budget for number 2, so let's make number 1. Let's do that sort of style, but with more gloss and shine on it. And I loved it. I thought it was a great film.
Yeah.
It's just
Agreed,
it was a survival film of a guy surviving on his own on this planet, and it was really clever.
Yeah, I'm a fan of all of them.
The Thing remake, I think all three of us, we can't really call it a remake, can we? The
prequel, wasn't it?
The prequel.
Yeah.
Ends
Joel Edgerton, wasn't it?
I watched it when it came out. I loved the end, and then I was waiting through the trailers and thought, okay, the credits, and think, right, okay, it's time to go. And then we got hit by that extra footage, and when this film came out, I almost wanted to see what happened before even that film happened. Well, where did they come from? What planet were they from? What did their world look like? And I think there's something really magical about building a world where, in Prometheus, we start to see this David character, and obviously in Covenant we know that David then starts something off that becomes something else. And in Pitch Black, we get more backstory, and it's always really nice, I think, when we've got something of this sort of sci-fi horror genre, that we do get backstory and give us a kind of a world build of where this is coming from. And I love the way that sometimes some of these crossing overs happen, where we've almost got the alien world and the Blade Runner world, Tyrell and Wayland crossing through. I love when that happens. And did you ever think that perhaps Riddick could be part of something else, or did you think that that perhaps we could see a prequel to the Thing film?
I'd like a Riddick versus Predator movie. That'd do me. That'd be good.
Yeah. Now,
you've
just hit exactly where I was going, because I think if you're gonna bring him back, and you want to tie this loose end, well, people didn't really like this Predator film, why wouldn't you have Vin Diesel fighting him? It would be an absolute blast, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it sounds good, mate. That's
Now, who would you like to direct that?
Vin Diesel versus Predator. Just Vin Diesel. He's not playing a character. It's just Vin Diesel versus Predator. I don't know. See, the thing is, Towie does do a good job with Riddick, and I think
I'd go with him, to be fair.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
It's just natural, because he's created the character, and I think that shines through in the work there.
You just need a guy in a suit, don't you? That's all you need. You don't need anything else. You don't need anything that Alien needs. You just need a guy in the Predator suit, and that is all you need.
The people in the suit are really underrated.
I agree with you.
Like you, Jason Voorhees, and all these masked bad guys. It's not just a big guy in a suit. They can act, and they can emote, and Kevin Peter Hall wasn't the first one, wasn't he? He was fantastic.
Yeah.
So
you're saying big guy in a suit? I'm just imagining you going to a job interview now.
No, they don't make suits my size anymore. But no, it's just, I think that the stunt people and the people who do these kind of things are really underrated. Kane Hodder in Jason and Hatchet and all the things he's been in. I think the performance that they give is fantastic, and these movies wouldn't be the same without the guy in the suit that everyone's like, oh, the guy in the suit.
I wholeheartedly agree with you, and you're missing
last week's podcast,
Peter Mayhew.
Peter Mayhew.
Exactly, yeah, Peter Mayhew.
But also England.
Yeah, Robert England. Yeah, as Freddy Krueger. But I mean, the big one there is Peter Mayhew. It's the gait. It's his stature. It's what he gives with that character when he opens his mouth and he's making the chewy noises. It's him. And we've seen
absolutely.
Yunus Samatoa, isn't it?
Yes.
And obviously
he's done a phenomenal job, hasn't he? But he's not Peter Mayhew.
He's not Peter Mayhew.
Not
There's
yet.
a difference to it. And you can see that Pete Mayhew's there guiding him because he's there in a capacity, isn't he? And it's working, and it is working. And there's no other way around this because Pete Mayhew just can't do it. So it's not by any, it's just a shame that that's the way it is. But you're right. It can't just be a big guy in a suit sometimes, I think. I mean, I get what you're saying, Adam, that you just throw a guy in a suit to fight Riddick. But there has got to be a certain something there, I think.
But Predator's boy has been played by different people every time, hasn't he? Did you say, Jeremy, or it's been pretty much the same guy?
No. The first guy who played him died.
Yeah.
He died a little while ago.
It was originally Van Damme, wasn't it?
Originally, yeah. Did you ever see the suit for Van Damme?
Yeah.
I remember when the movie Cyborg came out, and Van Damme had done a few films. He'd done Black Eagle and No Retreat, No Surrender, but then he'd starred in Bloodsport and Kickboxer, and then Cyborg was coming out, and I remember going to the video shop, because you used to hire them out before Blockbuster, little private video shops, and there was these leaflets on the desk saying that Cyborg was coming out, and I was reading what Van Damme had been in, and it said Predator, and I was like, I don't remember him in Predator at all. It was years later before you saw that rubbish insect rubber suit thing. I mean,
like a lizard man type thing.
It was just weird, wasn't it?
Mm.
It's like a Muppet.
Going back to Chewbacca, on the front cover of Solo, if you've seen the cover, you've got Alden right at the front, and you've got Emilia Clarke and Donald Glover either side of him. Then you've got Woody Harrelson. Then you've got Thandie Newton right at the back there. Then it mentions Peter Bethany, but who's not even on the cover. And then you've got a small picture of Chewie, but no Jonas. And I think that's a really sad thing because
no, but they played, didn't they?
He's not on the credits.
Yeah, no, but do you remember the posters they released, the wanted style posters? And it had on there, so it had Solo, and it said Alden Ehrenreich, and it had Kira, and it said Emilia Clarke, and then it had Chewie on it, and it said Chewie.
Yeah.
What? And it's not fair, right? Because this guy's bringing it. Yeah. He's bringing his A game to this role.
I think this is a really, really sad thing. And as much as people might, be talking about, races and various things within the Star Wars universe, actually having one of the major characters in Star Wars and not even having his name checked on the front of the cover of a film or a DVD or a Blu-ray when he's a major part. And he, as I say, he's a man in a suit. It's just a guy in a suit, isn't it? Not really, is it?
Their chemistry shines through. Him and Alden Ehrenreich in that.
I think that's shocking that his name is not on the front.
Harrison and Peter.
I think it's shocking that his name's not on the front of the covers. I really do. That was one thing I was really quite surprised that his name was not on the front.
Yeah.
I was going to say, it takes a lot to really play a character, and people really live it. Whenever you're listening to actors and and they're talking about how they got immersed in this world and they thought a certain way and became that actor, became that character, became that monster. I mean, one of the greatest character actors is Andy Serkis, and look how deep he gets in just being a monkey, being an ape.
You rarely actually see Andy Serkis on screen. Very rarely.
Mm.
But the motion capture that he does is incredible. And the fact that, that Gollum was just one of the most iconic,
It's
cinematic
amazing,
creations that there is.
Mm.
But that's not even actually Andy Serkis. And I think that motion capture should be part of the Oscars.
Oh yeah, definitely,
Just because these people have got a suit on or they've got dots on their face, why should that mean that they're not acting well?
Yeah,
it's ridiculous.
Well, Jonas has did such an incredible job of playing a Wookiee, and Andy Serkis. I think we're really not going to give him. They're not going to give him an Oscar, are they? They're not. When are they ever going to give him an Oscar for playing parts of or of a creature or an animal? They're just not, are they? And I think that's really very sad, actually, because
it is.
he's
But I think
probably
he'll
one
be
of the
one of
greatest
these
actors we've ever had.
Yeah, and I think he's going to be one of these that we're going to see him get one of these honorary Oscars at some point for services to cinema because of the work he has done. Serkis. I mean, you look back at King Kong, and then we look at. I know, Jeremy, it's not as good as the original. I
love King Kong, and he played Stumpy and King Kong.
He plays a cook, doesn't he? Yeah. And I mean, I enjoy it. It's not as good as the original, but it's got some. It's a great remake. It is a great remake. It's just not as good.
It's a really good movie.
But you got him in that, and he's fantastic. And like you say, the Planet of the Apes movies would not have worked without Andy Serkis. You've got Gollum in Lord of the Rings. Now I know there is a fan base there of Lord of the Rings that don't like the films as much, but they're not as vocal as Star Wars fans. They're a bit nicer. They're a bit more civilised about it. They have a cup of tea and talk about it rather than cause bloodshed and people to leave social media. He's amazing as Gollum. That's the standout thing in those movies, and it's that thing that's entered pop culture. Everyone knows who Gollum is, and it's Andy Serkis through and through again doing his job. You see him as Snoke now. Okay, underused character, and spoilers. He doesn't last very long, but when he's on screen, he is all-encompassing. He is menacing. He's a threat, and that's what we all wanted to see more of was Snoke, and we didn't get it because it's a waste of Serkis, man.
Absolutely,
phenomenal.
The amount of conversations I've had over the last year and a half of why did we not get more Snoke in the Last Jedi, and maybe even into episode 9. We could have had someone extremely powerful and impossible to fight until we get a very powerful Rey, very powerful Luke, and a few more Force Ghosts.
Well, I'm not going to tell you my theory for 9 because I'll just be wrong. Jeremy's already said we're always wrong, so I'll just pretend.
But I also really enjoy us being wrong, so that's just fine.
Do you know what? I think we should do this. I think nearer the time, nearer episode 9, we should sit down and do a theory episode. Every theory we could possibly think of that's going to happen, we'll do it, and then we'll see what it's like afterwards. Whoever gets the most wrong gets the sack.
Oh, that'd be me.
So, it's been an absolute joy. I'm not sure if there's anything else we want to add to this week's show, you guys, is there?
Oh, no.
I think we've covered...
I sold a load of Star Wars stuff this morning. That's why I'm a little bit sad as well.
Let's have a listen.
Yeah.
What did you sell?
Well, I did a boot fair this morning, and I just got rid of a few Black Series, some Elite Series, some bits and bobs.
They sold well, did they? Did you get?
Yeah, we spoke. Well, they didn't sell it. I could have got more money elsewhere, but it's all the hassle of going to the post office and the postage and etc. etc. So I kind of got my money back to a degree, but it's just me and you spoke about this before, and it's focusing. I started to go through things, and I'm like, do I really need that? Why have I got that? And I'm looking at the Black Series, and I'm thinking, I was collecting 6-inch, and then I suddenly had a few of the 3 3/4 because I found them reduced somewhere, and then I had a few of the Black Series ships, the little square ones in the box. Do I really need them? Why don't I just keep my 6-inch? So I got rid of that lot, and I started to get rid of a few bits and bobs here, like board games, Star Wars board game that I had, and a Harry Potter one, because it's just like, well, I've got to start streamlining and focusing. And I spoke to you about this briefly, Jeremy, didn't I, about vintage, and I just want to get into vintage, and you said don't because it's a slippery slope, and you just started with 1 or 2 beaters and that's where you are. But honestly, my biggest thing is I lost all my vintage Star Wars to someone when I lived at House Shed. I went back to get it and they'd thrown it all in the bin. And we're talking full set of Jabba's throne room. I had my Rancor. I had ATSTs. I had my Luke. I even had, I think there was a snag in there as well, a snaggletooth, a blue one. And, I look at it now and it breaks my heart that it's happened. I have to just get on with it. But that's what I want to get back into. And I don't care what the state of them is. Do you know what I mean? I don't care.
That's why I prefer beaters. Beaters have had a life.
Yeah.
They someone got enjoyment out of them. One's, it's like the Toy Story thing. One's sitting in the box, they haven't had a life.
I want my toys back. That's all. I don't care what condition they're in. And like you say, someone's played with them, even better because they've had fun with it. Yeah. And I just wanted to sit there on the shelf and look pretty. I had my speed bike with the flaps, with flaps, man. I had loads of it, and I had a Wampa, I had a Tauntaun, it just all got thrown. Every single bit of it, and well, apart from Wicket, who I still have, the only thing I still had. Even Wicket hasn't got his weapons or hood.
Andy, you're making me cry. I'm going to have to help you out on the beaters, mate. I am. I picked a Luke Skywalker up today. Really amazing condition. I got him for a real steal. I'm only going to put him in my land speed. I've already got 4, I think, just basic. I hate the word farm boy Luke, but I've got. So I think this may be the 5th one. I've got them for all the different, vehicles, playsets, whatever else. And in my cabinet, I've got my nice minty ones. But this is a really minty Luke without his saber. But it's not going to he's going to go in my land speeder next to a battered up 3PO and an R2 on the back.
Nice.
And a Ben Kenobi. And it's always great picking up stuff and not thinking, I'm not going to find any vintage today. And you think, there's always a place I know where I can pick up.
There's always you picked up that blooming.
Well, I picked up.
You're just the flukiest man in the world.
Yeah, attack for 10 machine guns.
Yeah, hidden in the battery compartment. I picked up a couple of Star Wars monthlies today. So this is number 1 of a Star Wars monthly poster magazine. I picked up number 2 of the Star Wars monthly.
I picked up a couple of my monthlies today, so we need to hurry up and get off here
and The Empire Strikes Back issue 1 poster monthly, and you know what? They were £3 each, mate. I mean, just bargains.
Madness.
But yeah, I think you're going to need a little bit of help on starting.
We have to talk about this.
I've got quite a few. You can talk. But I think the cool thing is it's not just vintage Star Wars, but I think it's just vintage in general. I've been looking at getting some stuff for Christmas presents. I've got my eye on a few things for my son. One of those things is a Pokemon Game Boy.
Nice.
The limited edition one. Not, again, terrifically expensive. Bit of vintage. Also, still works really well. Yeah, the yellow one. Just cut the batteries and he's off, isn't he? And again, the little Game Boy cartridges, you're not going to pay more than probably 20 quid, 25 quid max for some of the harder ones to find. Obviously, if they're not in boxes, but, but there's a lot of great vintage toys out there. I mean, we've talked before about picking up a He-Man and a Skeletor in good nick.
Love them.
There's some fantastic toys out there, vintage toys, which are pretty iconic. We've spoken about this many times before, and even the handheld games, Space Invaders and Asteroids, they're around. There's plenty of places to pick them up. There's no excuse for that, and certainly car boots are fantastic for picking stuff up. And certainly someone picked up some great Black Series off you, mate.
Yeah, well, to be honest, mate, I cleaned up today. I made it.
So give us the figure that you sold and the price you sold it for.
Well, nothing major to be honest with you, but I sold a couple of my Black Series for like a tenner.
What, 6-inch? Yeah.
Yeah, and no, sorry. Yeah, 1 6-inch for a tenner. I sold a couple of my 3 3/4 for a £5 each. The Elite Series went for between £8 and £10.
That's about the right second-hand market.
Exactly,
really.
that's
I know,
what I mean. There's
on
nothing
Facebook
major.
pages, people are trying to get exactly their money back, but I think car boot, you've done all right there.
Someone did get a steal out of me though. I sold some PS1 games, and because what with this PS1 Classic coming, I thought I could just get rid of a few of them, and I had Crash Bandicoot was one of these games, and the guy said to me, "How much?" And I went tenner. And straight away he went, "Oh, okay, yeah." And he's looking at it, and I know that I've seen it online for 35 quid with the condition it was in, with the booklet and, in the case, and I know I can get that for it, but I've put it on eBay before and it doesn't sell. There's 45 of them all up there for 35 quid, and you've got to be lucky to get it. And I put it in the pile, and he said, okay, and he's looking for his mother's. He went, "What about this one?" I went, "£5." And then he looked at another one, and he went, "How much for that?" And I went, £3. And he went, 15 quid for all three of them. And I went, "Yeah, just take it." Because I just wanted to get the money, and I thought, let's just get rid of it. I don't want to go home with this stuff. And, as he walked away, I looked at him and went, "You got a steal there, didn't you?" And he went, "Didn't I just?" And just walked off. Because he knew, and I knew. And I think he was happy that I just let him have it, because I wasn't going to argue over it for, I hope he goes away and has fun with Crash Bandicoot. Because I tell you what, it's been sitting on my shelf for 3 years and I haven't touched it. So.
And we have the trilogy of Crash Bandicoot coming to major consoles.
Exactly.
Anyway,
and honestly, I don't even really like it.
It's for PS1.
It's just there because it was a collectible piece, and why am I doing this? I'd rather have. I'm trying to go more minimalist. Have a nice cabinet with vintage in it, and my Funkos over there, because I do like my Funkos. That's one of my guilty pleasures. I'll keep them. I might keep my Black Series, I might not, but I've just got to start to get to that point where I'm like, enough's enough. I've got Star Wars Pez dispensers, chess pieces from a board. I've got, a Death Star from a Pizza Hut meal back in 1999. Oh, why do I need this crap? So that's the stuff I've just started to slowly filter away and get rid of.
Jeremy, I know you're a big collector of the old Funkos, aren't you? And are you focusing on your little collection, or are you just picking up whatever you fancy?
I've managed to get all of the Flash Gordon ones now. I'm pleased with that. But I think the joy of Funkos is you just can't think that you're going to get all of them, because you never will. So you just pick up the ones that you like. When you see one, you go, "Yeah, I like that one. I'll have that." Yeah. I like the 8-bit ones. I'm really into them. I'd quite like to collect all the 8-bit horror ones.
Yeah, they're cool, the horror ones, yeah, same there.
But it's just, as and when I see them, if they're cheap enough, I'll pick one up. But it's not the end of the world if I don't. The thing about the Star Wars, the vintage, you had the card on the back, and you could see everything you could get. And I'm a freak, and I needed all of them. Whereas if you buy an 8-bit horror one, it's only got that one on the back, and I'm like, I've got all of them, and I'm fine.
But no, this is, I think, what you said to me, Adam, is exactly that thing. When you focus and you do vintage, there's an end.
Yeah. There is an end in sight. It's a very expensive end in sight.
Yeah. But it's a possibility over years.
But it's a possibility over the years, yeah. You just have to be extremely patient. I think you focus on getting, if you're not going to go on card, then you got your first 12 loose, first 20, and you go from there. And when you start getting towards the last 17, then it starts to really hit your bank. And if you can't find your figure with a weapon, don't worry about it. Just do not buy a reproduction weapon.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't, mate. But I did actually, because I was lucky.
As long as you have that figure, and you look at your card back, if you find a card back, or you find these posters you can get where whatever, where it's listing all the figures, and you go, now I can tick these off. I have all these figures. And if I come across someone who's selling an Imperial Blaster or a Rebel Blaster or whatever it is, great. Make sure it's legit. Don't buy any reproduction, because...
Well, we know our places to go for that, don't we?
Indeed.
But, the thing that spurred me
do the
off
best
this...
you can with what you can afford. It's the same with Pops. They're not greatly expensive, but don't make yourself broke trying to collect them all.
We know they can be.
Yeah.
But what started me off on this vintage trip was last year I actually won on TSW Toy Box.
Mm-hmm.
I won. Do you remember? I got that.
Indeed,
the Luke.
You did, yeah.
Jedi Luke, didn't I? And that's when that came back through. Since that day that arrived back on my doormat, it's been playing on my mind. I just keep looking at him. I picked up a couple at a boot a while back. It looks like a dog's had a go at them for a good half an hour, and they are some beaters. But I put them on my shelf together, and this pang of joy swelled in me that I don't get with any of the other stuff that's on there. Apart from maybe my Lego Millennium Falcon and one or two single pieces that I go, yeah, like my Rev and Black series is the only one I'll keep if I get rid of them because I think he looks awesome. But this real sense of joy and pride, just I've got a Scout Trooper, which is my favourite Stormtrooper, is the Scout. I've got my Luke, I've got, it's a Tusken Raider. He hasn't got anything. It's literally the figure. No cape, nothing, you know.
Gaffy stick.
But I love him. And since I got that Luke, that is what spurred me on to think, I need to sort this out. And that time has now come. Get rid of the old, all the crap. You know, out with the old, in with the older.
No, out with the new, in with the old.
Yeah. And this is all too convoluted, but you get my point. Yeah.
Well, I think it's out for all three of us and oldies now. And it's been a great show, fellas.
Yeah, we're going.
And I'm looking forward to when we do that show for, just before episode 9, Jeremy. That'd be wonderful. And
I look forward to that.
I'm sure we'll get you on many, many more shows before that happens.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. Yeah, remember we need to talk after this. But it's been lovely having you on. Absolutely smash it.
For my last one.
Yeah. Yeah, that was Jeremy's last episode. No, it's been a blast, mate, as always.
Again, I will apologise. I want to apologise to listeners for any sound quality issues that you might encounter during this recording. Again, MacBook.
What he means is me talking. Yeah.
What we mean is you're the only one with a decent microphone for this particular podcast. But thank you very much for listening. Thanks, fellas, for a great show. And you've been listening to Retro Inc. Podcast, member of the Star Wars Commonwealth Podcast Network. Make sure you check out all the other podcasts on the network. And we'll speak to you next week. Thanks very much for listening. Cheers, guys.
Be seeing you.
Bye.
That's my thing now. I say be seeing you at the end. Oh. Yeah, I don't know if because it's retro.